Alrighty, so we are at the main boulder cabin. I'm prepping for hitch today because we leave tomorrow. We go do our next 7 days and got all my gear laid out, so I figured why not do a gear video and talk about what I use on trail. So, first things first, let's go over our boots. These things are super important. These are the Scarpa Wrangels. These are made for the Forest Service, and they're super durable, super tough, ultra waterproof if you oil them and keep them in good condition. But yeah, they're really great boots for the work we do when we're using Pulaskis and moving rocks and moving big trees. These protect our feet, and they're super comfortable if you buy them a size up. I was told to buy them a size up a little too late, and I got the streetwear size of my shoes, which is fine. They work. They just rub a little bit. So if you want them to be ultra comfortable, I recommend getting a size up from your normal street shoe and replacing the insoles, because the insoles that come in these aren't super great. I just use Dr. Scholl's. People on the crew use Superfeet, which are a little more expensive, but they do work really well. So that's those. Next thing is the pants we use. So these are the Wrangler Riggs workwear pants. These things are great, not super expensive. They are a lot like Carhartts. They're made out of canvas. Surprisingly breathable, and they dry super quick, which is awesome. Yeah, I've got 2 pairs. I haven't had to switch this pair out yet. Hopefully I can keep them going the whole summer, but I guess we'll see what happens. That's why I've got a backup. Next is a beanie. I bring this because it can get cold in the mountains. Weather changes often out there, so it can either be super hot or be cold. And there's a lot of in-betweens, so I bring a beanie, and then along with that, I also bring a puff. This is just random, there's an Eddie Bauer puff that I have that I've been using for years, and it works super well. Not all that expensive either. The next piece of gear is a must-have: rain gear. I only bring the top. I have rain pants, but I don't really see the need for them on trail because they can just get ripped and they're not super durable. So I bring Patagonia rain gear, super lightweight. By all means, you can buy cheaper rain gear. I just prefer that. Moving on, got a Sea to Summit dry bag with all of my camp clothes in it. Just bring a whole bunch of extra socks, some extra underwear, and some camp clothes. Just extra stuff to have to be comfortable. And I put it in a dry sack. You don't have to do that. Just makes me feel more comfortable just in case we do get weather. And let's see, moving on, got battery pack. This is super nice to have because we do use a mapping app on our phones. So to keep your phone charged is a pretty good idea. By no means do you have to bring your phone out there. You can disconnect if you want to. Just something I do. So next, personal first aid kit. This is a big thing. I just slapped this together. It's got a whole bunch of different stuff in it, from meds to bandages to lots of tape and moleskin. Just good to have. And if you don't feel comfortable putting together your own first aid kit, REI sells a whole bunch of different ones. They're supremely awesome. So moving on, I've got another necessity: eating wear. We eat a lot of food on trail, and it's really good food. This is a Sea to Summit bowl that I don't bring the lid out to anymore, and a Snow Peak titanium spork. You don't have to have a titanium spork, but just what I use. I also bring a mug because I use instant coffee in the morning, so it's nice to have that. Moving on from that, pack towel. We do river crossings, so it's nice to dry off and get your feet dry before you put them back in your boots. And if you happen to go for a swim in one of the lakes, it's also nice to have. This is not a necessity, it's just something I like. Moving on from that, these stuff sacks. This one's a Granite Gear one. This is a Sea to Summit, but these are both my food bags. And tying into that, carabiner, because we do hang all of our food with bear hangs. This paracord I got from the cache, which is where we store all of our gear. So if you need paracord, don't feel like you have to go out and buy a whole bunch of it. But a carabiner that can hold weight is awesome and great to have. I use a Black Diamond little positron thing. So climbing carabiners are awesome. I usually just bring one of these. Moving on from that, water storage. So I bring regular Nalgene, and then about halfway through the summer, I decided to get one of these, and it's been game-changing, so I don't have to stop and take my Nalgene out of my pack every time that I want to drink water. This is just a 2-ounce Osprey hydraulics one. You can get the cheaper ones at Walmart, the Ozark Trail ones, or you can get Camelbacks. They all do the same thing. But yeah, water, super important to stay hydrated on trail. Next is my sleep system. I use a Nemo sleeping bag. This is really expensive. You don't have to buy this by any means. This is just a 15-degree bag, and the highest rating you want is probably in between 15 to 20. 30, you might get a little cold. And 40, 50, that you probably will get a little cold. So I use a 15, it does get warm. So 20 to 30 would probably be good. I also use a Nemo sleeping pad. These are awesome. I love this pad. It's the Nemo Tensor, if you're wondering. And then I just picked this up, the Aero Sea to Summit pillow. This isn't a necessity. I used to just shove my clothes into my rain gear and use that as a pillow. And that worked super fine for years. But I decided to upgrade because I like being comfortable when I sleep. Last, but certainly not least, is my pack. So I've got a 70-liter Osprey pack. I think this is the Aether 70 AG. This pack is awesome. You're going to want a 70-liter pack at the bare minimum. I can fit everything I need to in this. And over the course of the summer, I figured out things that I can take out of my pack and things that I don't necessarily need all of the time. So I've been able to slim down my base weight quite a bit. If you want to be a little more on the safe side, go with an 80. You don't have to. 70s are great. 80s are more expensive. So Osprey is a great brand. You can also get Deuter, and I'm blanking on a couple of the other ones, but there's multiple brands, but Osprey has lifetime warranty. Just a super cool plug for them, because I'll have this backpack forever. If I break something on it and I send it away, they'll send me a new one. Another thing I bring, sunscreen. Super important, because we work in burn areas a lot of the time, so areas that have been hit by forest fires previously, so there's not a whole lot of shade when we're out there. So sunscreen is a very good thing to bring. I think lastly, flashlight. I use this black diamond headlamp. Walmart sells a whole bunch of cheap ones that work just as well. I just found this one last summer, so worked out well. But yeah, bring one of these. Usually we're going to bed before the sun's down, because the sun sets at like 10:30 out here, so super late. But yeah, headlamp, always super nice to have. Another thing that I don't have right here, and I don't know where they went, are my camp shoes. I just use a pair of water shoes, and those double as my water crossing shoes, just so I don't stab my feet and hurt myself. But yeah, so that's the gear that I use. A lot of things can be supplemented. You don't have to get all the expensive stuff that I have. I've accumulated this over years of doing outdoor stuff and camping and backpacking, so this is all stuff that I just have. But this is basically the bare bones of what you're going to need. I also bring books on trail. I bring a journal. But yeah, it's what you need. Alrighty, so that was all the backpacking gear that I bring on Hitch. Some other things that I brought for the cabin itself were bed sheets and pillows for the beds. Those are pretty necessary if you want to be sleeping in a bed. If not, you can sleep in your sleeping bag all summer. More power to you. Other stuff that I brought, French press for coffee and a frying pan. The kitchen is really well stocked with bowls and plates and all that stuff, and some cookware. But if you want like a no-stick frying pan like I did, because I cook a lot, and French press for coffee, because I drink a lot of coffee, those are things to consider bringing. Some other stuff to consider bringing is any recreational gear you might want. So climbing gear, there's a lot of climbing around the area, mountain bikes, ski gear because on the Beartooth Pass there is skiing from late May to early June. So if you want to get some late season laps in, that's a great way to do that. Really, any recreational gear you want to bring because we are on a really cool forest and there's a lot of stuff to explore and a lot of stuff to see and do. Other things to bring, anything that you think you need to feel comfortable out here. Basically, you're moving into a new house. So I don't know what the living situation is going to be next year, but I'm in this cabin by myself, so I can kind of fill the space with all the things I brought, but these cabins are not super big, so be mindful of what you bring. Bring what's going to make you feel comfortable. That being said, hope you have a great time out here. Enjoy your position, and yeah, have a great day.